Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and today I'm sharing with you how I refashioned two of the items in my current module, Module 2. If you don't know what modules are, I am currently sewing in some modules. Actually, there'll be 3 total when all is said and done, or putting together 3 modules, which consists of each module 6 pieces. One topper like a cardigan, jacket, could be a coat even, just something to layer over tops. 2 bottoms, that could be pants, shorts, skirts, whatever, and then 3 tops. So I'll pop a link actually up to Module 1 and 2's lookbook. But in my Module 2, I had 2 items that I had refashioned from thrifted items. So I love to thrift. I think I have a couple of friends that I just really enjoy. It's a fun thing for us to do together, kind of the thrill of the hunt type of thing. We also live in an area that has, if you hit it right, can have some really spectacular finds. So I've been on the hunt for really good denim, really good worn-in men's denim, cotton denim. I don't want anything with Lycra in it, just woven like work jeans. I've got another project on the back burner that'll be happening for Sew My Style. Let's see, I think we do jean jackets in September, October, somewhere around there. Sometime in the fall, we're doing jean jackets. And I really wanted to make mine out of some thrifted denim. So I've been on the hunt as we go, looking for really worn-in, neat washes of denim. That being said, I found this gorgeous pair of men's Wranglers, and actually the picture in the thumbnail is a different pair of thrifted jeans that I had. I'd already cut these up before I had the request for to show you how I had done the refashion. So unfortunately, I don't have a picture of me in the before jeans, but they were very similar to this, just a different wash. So I took the pair of men's jeans and I turned them into the Megan Nielsen Dawn jeans, the straight leg version, cropped. And basically I just used them as fabric. So there's not any real big tips or tricks, but I do talk about showing with a different other pair of men's jeans, kind of how I went about and did that. And then the second part of this video is the blazer. So I found a vintage, very 80s navy blue wool blazer that had self-covered buttons, gigantic shoulder pads, and but other than that, it fit me like a dream. So I went in and changed the shoulder pads and buttons on that. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today, and I filmed those previously, so I'm going to hop to those right now, and I will come back at the end. Alright guys, now like I said, I already have my jeans, the actual pair that I'm going to use already cut up, but I'm going to show you on another pair of thrifted jeans because I'm getting ready to do, I'm actually going to do a jean jacket for Sew My Style later in the year with a whole bunch of similar color thrifted denims, but that's neither here nor there. So basically, all you're going to do is look at the anatomy of a pair of jeans. So this is a men's size 40 jean, and you can see me in the picture. They're huge. The size I cut up was actually a size 36, I believe, so they were a little smaller. I didn't have quite as much denim to work with. But what you're gonna do is you literally are gonna go through with a seam ripper and first unpick the belt loops. And I have saved all of the belt loops from the pair that I have used. And I like to save all these little details. So I have the belt loops. I have saved, you know, on the back. This actually just has a leather patch, which is kind of cool, and I could reuse that pretty easily. I don't even know what kind of jeans these were. There's not a tag in them, and it just says members mark on it, so I don't know what these are. The ones that I'm using, though, were Wranglers, and I don't think I can reuse the back patch on this because it's pretty torn up. It's ripped and everything else, and I wouldn't be able to sew through it again because of it's kind of that heavy-duty cardboard. But they do have, and this is so worn, the little Wranglers tag that says Wranglers that goes on the yoke, just the seam line between the yoke and the back of the pant, and I think I'm totally going to reuse that because just as a nod to the original jeans. So yeah, you're going to want to take those things off, the little back patches if there's any tags, and then undo the belt loops. Then next, now with my Wranglers, I had an issue because this rivet here was actually on part of the waistband. These rivets are such a pain in the tushy to get rid of. So when you're looking for thrifted jeans, see if you can't find, now the rivet down here is fine. I could have actually cut around that on the other pair of jeans and not even worried about it. I did have to pull it out when it was on the waistband because I'm reusing the waistband of these pants. But wedging a screwdriver behind these rivets with a hammer will work, and we'll pop these off. You will also probably need to, but maybe not, pop off the rivet that's here on the side. Those came off easily on my Wranglers, but you're gonna need to take those off. Literally, I wanna show you, if you can see here, see, this is a chain stitch, and the whole pair of jeans are put together with this chain stitch. If you literally can just break a few of these stitches, pull, it will undo. The whole thing will unravel like lickety split, and it's fantastic. So you're gonna wanna take the waistband off. Let me see if I can find. Here is my waistband on that other pair of jeans. And again, you can see where I had to like manhandle the rivets out. I really want to keep this button and buttonhole, so I'm gonna make the waist smaller and add a center back seam in this waistband to make it fit the top of my Dawn jeans, because I really want to keep this. And basically what that's gonna mean, because clearly you can't sew this the same way because this has been stitched through, I'm gonna have to, when I get to this point, literally just kind of wedge this waistband on top of the jeans and then just top stitch it down, which should be fine. I mean, that should secure it just fine. But that's gonna be interesting. So I may have to get creative with that, but I really want to use, I really like the idea of using that button and buttonhole. So there's the waistband of the jeans I've already taken apart. All right, so, okay. So we're gonna take off the waistband, and then we're gonna take the zipper out, and you're gonna unpick, there'll be probably, okay, let me see here, well, you're gonna pull the zipper out. Here's the zipper I pulled out of those Wranglers, and it works just fine, so I'm probably gonna reuse it. Be careful not to take your slider all the way off. I'm gonna reuse that. So yeah, so you're gonna have the fly shield and the fly extension pieces. I've just cut out new pocketing. I got rid of the stuff that was there. So you've got your fly extension and your, just the fly, which I've reused. I unpicked that. You can see where it was already folded, and it'll get folded again to go back into the jeans, but I just wanted the pieces to be as accurate as possible. So those pieces all just came from right here. And again, it's just, I just unpicked it. I literally sat with a movie and unpicked an entire pair of jeans. And the top stitching is a little harder to get out because that's not chain stitched. But yeah, salvage what you can, including the zipper. And then with the side seams, they are put together also with a chain stitch. So again, if you can get even the flat felled ones. So here's a flat felled seam inside these jeans. Those are both chain stitches. So once you get one going, they just pull right out on both of them. And so they come apart really pretty easily. So then after that, I take all of my different pieces and just lay the pattern pieces on top of them. Now for my pocket facing, where it also has your little coin pocket, I've left it. That's the original coin pocket on the original pair of jeans, and I've just cut it out the side. Now there's the other side, but I've kept that, and that's so fun. I'm very excited about putting that into my pair of jeans. And then my back pockets, I didn't cut any of those out. Those are the original back pockets, and they're very similar. And when I was laying, well, I'll talk about that in a second. But I kept my back pockets just from the original pair of jeans. Making a mess here. my yokes. And I kind of had to fudge these a little bit just because this yoke I think is a little bigger, maybe bigger seam allowances or whatever than what the Wranglers were, but it's gonna work just fine. Oh, after you're done taking everything apart, you need to give it a really good press. And wash the jeans really, really well before, like in hot water, before you do any of this, just because who knows who's worn these before. But I've given them a really good cleaning, and then I unpicked and then pressed every single piece that I had taken apart. And then with the front and back, I literally just laid 2 fronts on top of each other like I would with fabric and cut out the pieces. Now you'll notice on my back pieces here, this is what's so cool. You can see where the original pocket was. Now, luckily for me, I usually have to raise the pockets on my jeans because this is pretty close to the seam allowance here, but I have to raise the pockets on my jeans anyway just because of my body. So that my pockets are going to be able to go almost back in these exact places, which I guess technically I wouldn't have even had to unpick them if I didn't want to, but you know, I may scoot them down a little bit and then just have some of this dark blue showing because that's cool. But look at that. Isn't that cool? From the whatever process that they did or just from being worn, look at the difference in color there. I just think that's so cool. So yeah, and someone's gonna ask me about grain line when cutting out the front leg and the back leg. I just assumed, and maybe wrongly, that the original pair of jeans were on the grain. So I made my grain line perpendicular to my hem, which is what it would be on a normal pair of jeans. And we're just gonna go with that because I'm not a perfectionist. So, you know, yeah, so just getting kind of things to fit. And surprisingly, these were a size 36 men, a 36-32, I believe, men's jean. And the only, I mean, I had some scraps off the sides, but not much. And then I have this off the hem of the fronts, I think, or the back, and then just this off the hems of the fronts. Just from where I needed to position the pattern piece, raising it up or lowering it, depending on the crotch curve, so I could get my crotch curve in. So it's just funny, like you would think you would have a lot of leftover because they're so big on you when you put them on, but you really don't when all is said and done. So yeah, that is how I, literally just took it apart piece by piece, and I'm gonna salvage some of it and sew up a new pair of Dawn jeans. So stay tuned for the finished result. Okay, guys, you're getting a very fresh-faced Whitney. My video, though, just went up yesterday for my plans for my Module 2. And I'm sitting on everything here. And I had a lot of people commenting that they were interested about my refashions and that they wanted to see how I did them. So you're real up close to my face right now. This is completely without makeup, and I'm really broken out right now, so excuse all this. I've been down in my sewing room working. So I'm doing a pair of jeans, and I'm doing just a little refashion to the blazer. I've actually decided not to do the lining. I kind of put it inside the coat, the fabric inside the coat, and put it on over, most specifically, the linen Sedona shirt that I'm making, because that's finished, and oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. Be very excited. I'm so excited about that. And it stuck really badly. Like, it kept pulling my shirt weird, like I was having a hard time getting my collared shirt to like sit right inside the jacket. And this is a pretty somewhat fitted through my shoulders and upper back. I mean, it fits me, but it was restricting me a little bit. And I hate when I when I feel like I'm hulking out of a jacket, and I kind of felt that way without even taking the lining out. So I'm gonna leave the original lining in. And originally I was just gonna change the body of the lining and leave the sleeves, but I think I need to keep the slick lining all the way through. But what I'm gonna do to this jacket is gonna be amazing. So I'm gonna tell you about the jacket, and then I will switch over and talk about the jeans, which unfortunately are already cut out, but I have another pair of thrifted jeans that I'll kind of walk you through what I've done so far. I haven't sewn the jeans yet, I've just cut out the pieces. So anyway, come on. Oh, she's so temperamental. Come on. Yeah. Okay. So, if you were at a thrift store, and I actually, at this past thrift store run, I bought a couple of men's, smaller men's jackets that are just blazers, that are just gorgeous, and a couple of wools. And I'm gonna see if I can't take those apart, similar to the way I took apart the men's jeans, and turn them into the Jessica blazer. So basically by leaving the welt pockets, the breast pocket, and we'll see how much of the lapel and stuff that I can leave, to be able to do that. I'm gonna play around with it. And they both have welt pockets on the inside though that go from the lining to the jacket. So the jacket's been cut, the fabric and the facing's been cut into. So I'm just gonna play around with it a little bit and see what I can do. But I think the key there is to buy a men's blazer that not fits you necessarily, but that is a smaller one so that the pieces don't get too big and over framed for your frame. So anyway, but long story short, Goodwill is a fantastic place, especially after Marie Kondo, to find nice things that maybe have been in people's closets forever that they just don't wear anymore because they don't fit or they think are out of style. And that is, I think, probably the case with this blazer that I'm going to show you. It definitely had an 80s vibe. And I have a picture of me wearing it with a gigantic pair of men's jeans that I'm turning into the Dawn jeans, just to show you how easily it is to basically fabric shop at thrift stores. So basically all I'm gonna do with this jacket, it's so simple, is I am going to take the shoulder pads out, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that. And then it's just very plain, I talked about it, very plain buttons. I'm gonna just change the buttons, and I'm gonna show you how that's just gonna dramatically affect the cut of this coat. Another reason I wanted to leave the lining in is because it's got these great like vintage tags, and I hate to take that out. Now I do have as a part that I mentioned where the lining is ripping a little bit, so I am gonna mend that, but I am gonna leave just the boring old navy lining in there, just so I can preserve as much of the original part of the coat as possible. So when you find, and this is true for women's blazers, not so much for men's. Men's blazers are constructed differently, so the lining is put in differently, but most women's blazers are kind of done this way. And again, I've already taken the shoulder pads out, but I'm gonna show you where you find them. Okay, so in one of the sleeves of the coat, and just turn both sleeves inside out. It's not that one. So I have the coat completely inside out. But there will be a part of the lining, and if not, you can just cut into the lining, but a part of the lining right there that has been seamed, so basically it's just been pinched together and top stitched. That's what you're gonna wanna pull out to open up this hole. And once you have a hole in the lining, you can literally go inside the coat, between the lining and the coat, and just find the shoulders and pull them through the hole. And you may find that it's easy just to turn the entire jacket, because you can pull the entire jacket through this hole in the sleeve lining. And it makes it super easy to sew it back up once you're done. You don't even have to do any hand stitches. It's all done on the machine. All right. So once you have your jacket all inside out, you'll be able to see, it's gonna look funny because your sleeves, you have like these Mobius sleeves that are here. All right, let me find the shoulders. Okay, so here is one shoulder right here. There's the sleeve, and this actually does have sleeve heads in it. I was gonna add some if it didn't, but it actually does. And these shoulder pads were extended well past the, look at these suckers. Look at those. They were extending well past the seam allowance. And into the sleeve, just to give you that great old 80s vibe. Actually, they go in upside down, because when they're on your body, you want them to be cupping your body. But that, look at those ladies. Look at that. So I am going to exchange these for these. Look at the difference. Okay, so shoulder pads. Let's talk about shoulder pads. A tailored coat needs a shoulder pad. I prefer a thinner one. This is about a 1/4 inch one, or maybe 3/8. I think it's a 3/8 one. And I get mine from Bias Bespoke, and it's an Etsy shop, and I will leave a link down below for these. And you can buy them in sets, but they come in pairs. So if you look at that, you can kind of see where they have like the little, this edge here kind of goes out a little bit more. Maybe it's easier to see on this side. So you have a left one and a right one, and you need to make sure that that is, that you have one of each. And this longer side here goes to the back of the jacket. And then the thicker part goes towards the sleeve. So all I'm gonna do is figure out which one, it's just this one, is go back to my shoulder seam, which is right here. And again, you want to lay them so that they're cupping up, because when this is turned right side out again, it's going to be inside. You want it to cup your body the way it goes on. So it's going to look like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand stitch this down to the seam allowance, but just on the inside of the stitching line. I don't want it to extend too far into my sleeve. So I'm gonna hand stitch it just the way you would do any blazer. And again, you want the fatter side to the shoulder, or the arm side. Good gracious. And I just want it just barely over the stitching line. And in this jacket, it even has twill tape that goes around the armhole to keep it from stretching out. This is a nice jacket. So I'm just gonna put this barely over that, and I'm going to hand stitch it with a really long running stitch to that. And then I'm going to go through and tack the top here, which goes to nothing towards the shoulder or towards the neck. And I'm just going to tack that down to the seam allowance only, to the shoulder seam allowance. Sorry, hold it up, Whit. To the shoulder seam allowance right there. And that's all you got to do. A long running stitch to the seam allowance, and then just tack the top down to the shoulder seam allowance, and your shoulder pad is in. And you're good to go. You don't need to cover it or anything because it's inside the lining. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Again, for reference, 80s shoulder pad, today's shoulder pad. And again, I have very squared off shoulders. Someone had mentioned that I don't seem to have very broad shoulders. I actually seem petite, and I am petite-ish. I'm short, but I don't have small bones. I am short, everything on me is short, and my shoulders are narrow with most ready-to-wear things. I would shop in the petite section a lot. I look amazing today. Shop in the petite section a lot, but in comparison to the rest of my body, my shoulders, if you were to take a tape measure around my shoulders, that measurement is 1.5 inches or 2 inches bigger than the fullest part of my hip. So my shoulders, and also visually my bust, are bigger than my hips, which gives me the illusion of the inverted triangle a little bit. Because someone had also asked if I might be an apple, and I might be. I don't know. I've got a thicker waist. But apples tend to have real thin arms and legs, and I do not have thin arms. I have very meaty. I mean, I gain all weight in my upper body when I put on weight. It's my upper body, and then my midsection, and then my hips and legs very, very last. So I don't know what that means. All I know is I want to minimize my bust. So I want to keep the shoulder pads small, because you do need it for the structure of the jacket, but I don't want to make myself too emphasized here. But again, this is a nice classic blazer, and I'm a soft classic, so we want to go with the classics. And I think even like the classics is not necessarily extremely tailored things, which I guess a double-breasted blazer you would consider to be a highly tailored piece of clothing, and it is, but I'm going to wear this open. So anyway, I digress. All right, the second part of this is once I have my shoulder pads in, I'm going to exchange my buttons for different ones. And then the trick is remembering where the hole in your lining is so that you can turn the jacket right side out when it's time. So once I've tacked, once I've tacked, once I have tacked my shoulder pads in, I almost hate to turn this right side out again. You find, there it is. You search and search until you find your hole that you went in through. No, it was the other arm. Holy moly. There it is. Sometimes you get lost in your jacket. It's fine. All right, so that, again, changing the shoulder pads, super easy to do. So now we are stuck with these self-covered buttons that are fine. You know, they're nice self-covered buttons. But I'm going to change them out. My snoring dog. I have these buttons here. Oh, let me take one out. I have these buttons here, and I got them from Wallwack, and so I have the two different sizes. So there, oh, come on. There we go. I'm gonna put these buttons on the front of the jacket, and then I have the size down counterpart for the sleeves. So I'm literally just gonna switch out the buttons, which is so easy. And these buttons were very reasonably priced. Again, I'll leave the link down there from Wallwack. I'll leave the link down below. And that's it. I've got a new blazer. I probably will, once I've got my shoulder pads in, I'm going to try and steam the, not press, but steam the sleeve head of this jacket because it's been in that larger shoulder pad for so long. I have a pressing board that I got at one of my professional sewing conferences that kind of looks like an arm's eye, although you can use a ham, would work just as well. I'm just gonna stick it in there and just steam the crap out of it. I'm not gonna touch the iron to it, just gonna steam to try and get that wool to mold back up to a little bit smaller. Okay, that's it, guys. That is it for the blazer, and now I'll show you about the jeans. Okay guys, I hope you really enjoyed that content today. I hope that answered some questions, although of course if you have any other questions, please leave them down in the comment box below. I love answering questions about sewing. I also have hair in my eye. Speaking of which, does anyone else have, not necessarily curly, but strong wavy hair that just goes berserk with the changing of seasons? Because my hair is just it has a mind of its own right now. I don't know if it wants to go curly or not, what it wants to do, but when I have it straight, it's like gigantic. Anyway, I could have some really weird hair for the next couple of days. Someone actually commented that they loved my hair this way, so thank you. Because that makes me feel a little bit better, because I just kind of feel like it's just really weird right now. But anyway, totally digressing. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I had kind of talked about doing a third module of this current module that this was a part of, and I am going to do that. But I also talked about walking you through the entire module process, and I think that that might be better. I'm gonna be moving on to a different color story for summer, and actually I have I'm working, one of those modules is gonna be in conjunction with Minerva Crafts. I'm getting fabric from them in exchange for some blog posts. So I am changing color stories, and I thought that might be more informative if I actually start from the beginning, how I pick my color story, silhouettes, and then just go all the way from the beginning. So I am gonna go through that entire process, but probably not until the very end of May or the beginning of June. Plus I'm also a leader for Sew My Style this month, and so I'm finding it's getting a little hectic with me doing shirt posts and stuff like that. So I thought I could focus more on that end of May, as soon as my duties for that are over, and then beginning of June. So that, and probably through the month of June. I may do it like I did kind of with my sew along, do like every Tuesday video or every Friday video, whatever, that kind of follows along this series of how I put together a module, which is basically in essence a capsule wardrobe. So that's what you have to look forward to. Let's see, Tuesday we've got our giveaway announcement. So don't forget the giveaway for the Smuggler Daughters gift card, which is a $100 gift card. That is still up, and I'll pop a link to that video until Mother's Day, which is in the US, which is Sunday, the 12th, May 12th, midnight Eastern Standard Time. So I will shut the giveaway at that point, but then I will announce the winner on Tuesday. So you've got that to look forward to. We've got a full bicep adjustment video coming up, a how to insert a collar stand video, how to do a bias hem finish on the bottoms of shirts coming up, and I am delving into some swimwear making. And so I'm gonna do a video on swimwear and sourcing notions, that kind of thing. And also some swimsuit patterns I'm kind of looking at because my entire swim drawer needs to be completely revamped this year. So yeah, that's what we have to look forward to going forward. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye!